Alright guys, hello and welcome back to JCast Chess. Today we're going to be doing another Switches in My House. This is the house that I have made my intro in that you will see right now. Alright, so now, welcome to another Switches in My House video. So this is Switches in My House and another house. I'm not sure which one this is on. I think this is the third one. Oh, no, actually I think it's the fourth one. I did my house, the Airbnb, and then two other houses. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's get started. So this switch actually doesn't do anything. This middle one does this light. And that light right there. These just have, this one has a clear, and this one has just a standard. This one's LED, the other one I believe is incandescent. And then this one here, it goes to a light outside. It does that light right there. Alright, walking into the hallway here. This one goes to the hallway light. There's the thermostat for the air conditioning and heating. Going into the bathroom here, we have two switches. This one goes to that light right there, which also has an outlet on it. I'm not sure if this is constantly hot or if this is switched. I would assume it's switched, but it could be constant. And then this goes to that exhaust fan there. This here is the air conditioning. Going into the other side of the hallway here, this one is the second switch to that light right there. Alright, going in here, we have, well, it's kind of dark, but this, there it is. This switch goes to the light of this fan, and then the fan is just controlled by this. See there? But yeah, I can actually turn this light off now. This is the real, what it looks like in here, and then you turn it off, it gets super dark. Okay, so this right here is the master. So this switch goes to the ceiling fan, which does not have a light. Like I mentioned, this is the master, so it has its own hall and bath. So that switch is to the hallway, which also brightens up the closet. And then in here we have a switch which goes to another one of these lights with another outlet right there, which again, I don't know if it's switched or if it's constant. There is a fan in here, as you can see, a exhaust fan. However, I have yet to locate a switch for it, which is kind of strange. There's just this one. So unless they were both on the same switch at one point and it just ended up dying, or maybe the switch is just so hidden that I just haven't found it, I'm not too sure, but I am yet to locate one. I will let you know if I find it. And by the way, there is the air vent there. Okay, so coming out of this room, we've got some switches. So this one controls, I'm not going to mess with it because it controls an outlet. It goes to the Wi-Fi. But on the opposing side, or not really necessarily opposing side, but on the opposite side, I should say, we have a switch which goes to the fan, which doesn't actually seem to be on. However, there is a pull chain here as well as a fan, which actually doesn't seem to operate. But yeah, just to prove it to you. So yeah, there you go. I'm gonna turn this back off though. Over here we've got a switch for the dining, which goes to this chandelier. However, it looks as if one of the bulbs is burned out, but yeah. Also off of this room, we've got this room, which has a light switch. This is actually the reason it's down and the light is on is because it is a two-way. So, see. which, as I just showed, goes to this fan, which is currently on high, and the light for it. Okay, so over here, it's a bit strange. Okay, so over here is a little bit strange because this switch you would think would do that fan, but it actually is the opposite, where this switch is one of two to that light. I'll show you the other one in a second. And this one is actually the second switch to that fan. So yeah, a bit strange. This one controls this way, and this one does that way. Also here in the kitchen, we have a GFCI outlet, as well as this light. I'm not sure if this is the garbage disposal, so I'm not going to turn it on. But one is to the garbage disposal, and the other is to this light. This one here is the second switch to that one up there. And then can you guess where we are? Yep. This is where the dining meets the kitchen. Here, this is the laundry area. It's a lot brighter in person, but we have this light switch, which goes to that light up there. And then this one, I believe, is meant to do one inside of the garage. However, if I open this up here, it doesn't do anything. I do have it on, but it just does not do anything in here. There's no lights anywhere. And then this switch here, which is supposed to stay on, does a motion activated light outside of here. That's why it's got to stay on. Just to prove to you this was on, see? And it doesn't do anything out there, so yeah, kind of strange. And of course that's off the laundry, if I didn't already say that. Actually, I just realized there is another switch which also needs to stay on. As it does this, I believe this is also a motion activated light, as there's this little sensor right there. And I'm not entirely too sure. I think purple is like a bug deterrent or something like that. I'm not really sure why people use purple lights outside. Let me know down in the comments. Also, I'll show you on the side of the house here. Lennox for the AC. And on the other side of these trash bins, yep, we have a Generac standby generator. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. We also have, if we come back over here, we've got a well pump system, which is just so cool, and it actually works. It supplies, I believe at least, I'm not sure if it just helps supplies or if it really does supply water to the house building, but it also, of course, has the hose connection with, it looks like a splitter on there. Okay, so I think that's gonna do it. I think I already showed this, but if I didn't, there's the thermostat, Honeywell Home Pro Series. So yeah, pretty cool. I don't think they used the timing functions. I think they only used the basic air conditioning. Yeah, so if I find out what anything else does, like maybe one of these switches, I'll figure it out or something. Or even that one in the master, or something like that. But unless that, yeah. So unless I do that, that's gonna be it for this one. If you guys did enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe. If you have any comments, concerns, questions, whatever it may be, feel free to leave those down in the comments below. Alright, thanks for watching. Farewell. Okay, I just discovered something with the garage. So this switch, remember before I said it, I believe it goes to a light in the garage, or at least it used to. Well, it actually still does, but the trick is, let me open this, is it just doesn't work. But actually, what I didn't notice, because the garage door opener is in the way, is there's actually a light bulb right there. If you look, there's a light socket and a light bulb. And so that, I believe, is what that switch controls. I could be wrong, but there's no switches in here. I already looked around. But yeah, and so I believe it's just the bulb is burnt out. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Also, here is the Generac power. Also, there's the motion light. That's off this switch. But I'm gonna get tapped, so I'm going back inside. But yeah, so I believe that's what this does. Alright, so if I don't find anything else interesting, farewell. Okay, well, I did find out something else interesting. So this one, which has like paint all over it, does nothing. As you can see there, I believe it might have used to go to a garbage disposal. And I thought this light didn't work, however, it turns out that this switch over here actually does, it actually does work, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, technically this is also a switch. You have the one for the fan, the hood fan, which I'm not going to turn on, and then you have, of course, the light bulb, which there is another one on the other side that's just burned out, but if you see, they're off, and then that one would have been the other side. So yeah, so if I don't find anything else out interesting, farewell.